Hare Krishna. Normally, people get into family life because of wanting relationships which fulfill different levels of sense gratification, both physical, emotional, and um and various other social needs that we have. All these are, these are the reasons why people get married and want to have family relationships. Now, there are two types of uh, relationships. One is centered around oneself. Actually, one wants everyone around us so that I will be happy. This is very materialistic, and this is the cause of suffering, because the reason is that even due to some very good karma, you manage to have a decent family and nice relatives fairly. Still, life is very short, and we can't avoid diseases, so many other um, catastrophes which happen outside the family. We are also living in a world in Kali Yuga where we can't but be impacted by so many other things which is happening outside us. So nobody can be a cocoon unto themselves and be survive very happily in this age. Apart from that, so it is temporary and it's full of misery. So, the other kind of relationship is the spiritual relationship, which is based on our higher self, the soul, and Krishna. So, in this connection, what happens is if we are first connected with Krishna in a very nice way, that I am your servant, then automatically the love that we can want to have. I mean, there is a need. After all, we're all social in nature. Even the soul always wants to be with other souls, with Krishna. And Krishna himself has that kind of a nature. He doesn't want to be alone. He is always surrounded by his devotees. So, this need for loving relationships is most natural. But we want to see whether we want to gratify it through our bodily identification, or with the soul, spiritual identification. And that's why it's so important to first establish our relationship, the sambandha, with Krishna. And that sambandha is very enlivening to the soul. And it's very energizing, very positive, and it's completely supported by Krishna, free from all kinds of lamentation, fears, anxieties, negative traits. So, when we try to enrich ourselves like this, then whatever other relationships we have in the material world, including family members, will automatically become better and better, because then we will try to influence the other family members also by our dealings, by giving spiritual love. And we have to inspire them to come up to that level rather than taking their association of materialistic tendencies. We have to try to give association, and that's the only purpose of the family life, that somehow I must help my family members to become liberated in this life. In fact, the Srimad Bhagavatam says that anybody who cannot liberate a father cannot, a man cannot become a father unless he is capable or he is desirous of liberating his children. Similarly, for a mother or a teacher or a king, any leader in the society cannot take up that position unless he can liberate the people under him. So, this is the purpose actually. In a spiritual society, the purpose is somehow getting the moksha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, to be liberated from material life. That is the goal. Then automatically dharma, artha, kama follows that principle of moksha, and it's all perfect. Then you do dharma because ultimately you want moksha. You're not just the purpose is simply beg, borrow, steal, and enjoy. That's not the purpose. Or work hard simply for sense gratification. But more important is to do dharma or religious principles, um, and then that gives you automatically, because artha, and then and you use it in a proper religious way, sense gratification in a regulated way, and then finally you can be achieve moksha. So all these principles are already included in pure devotional service. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, for this age, simply chant Hare Krishna and serve Krishna, glorify Him, worship Him, and all your desires, everything will be fulfilled, and you can go back home, back to Godhead. So that should be our goal. focus, not only for ourselves. Even our love for our family members must be based on this principle, rather than, sometimes devotees feel, okay, I will go back to God and I will take up all austerities, but my family members, let them enjoy material life. This is duplicity. This is just hypocrisy, because that means you don't really believe that this is wonderful to go back home, back to Godhead. So why should we deprive our family members, relatives, or anyone around us this joy of being connected with Krishna and having loving relationships which are eternal? Because we know it's eternal, because the body may be perished, but the soul lives on, and we'll connect up once again, so that love can continue. When we have that relationship, then there is no suffering at all in this world. Even when relationships break, or even there is death, and some illness, we don't suffer so much, because we know we are not these bodies, and the love can continue because it's on the spiritual platform. We don't get disturbed by temporary upheavals. And that's why the spiritual culture is so very important, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made it so simple. He doesn't want, I mean, not the normal process of renunciation, of, brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa, renounce, and then a sannyasi also has got 4 stages till he becomes a paramahamsa. So that's very, very long drawn out and practically impossible in this age. There is no varnashrama dharma happening. And so quickly go into the platform of love. So that loving relationships is what is going to give us the highest principle, even without this too much of austerities. And that's why we have to develop this loving, serving mood, be very kind and caring. What is so difficult about that? This is not austere. It's only austere for the ego. And that ego has to be, through intelligence, we have to overcome the ego and understand that if the ego is conquered and the heart is expanded, then that is it. We've already reached, we've reached the lotus feet of Krishna. Because in the Bhagavad Gita it says, for one who has controlled the mind and the senses, Paramatma has already reached. So this opening up of the heart is the focus, and all devotional activities is our concentration on, not just, sometimes we like to do some austere things and then we feel very proud. See, I'm very, very advanced, that I'm able to, forego so many things. But I don't know if people even feel proud these days about such things, because the overriding atmosphere around us is filled with sense gratification. So nowadays, I don't even see devotees boasting that, they're very austere. That was a few years back. Maybe some devotees coming from that age, about a decade back, then they may have some pride in following some austerities. But now, in today's world, we see people are completely swept by this mood of sense gratification. And so, it's very difficult if you tell them to renounce things. They get very upset. But they, through understanding their psychology, accepting them, giving them friendship and love, then they're ready to listen to you. It's so easy to win them over, simply if we, and for this, simply if we cast aside our, judgmental disposition, our previous, being very, having mental blocks, being very fixed in our opinions and opinionated. If we remove all these things and are very open-minded and are very accepting of people and seeing what could, not demonize people into black and white. Either they are doing whatever I think is good, or they're all demons. Not that kind of thing. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said everybody's got good and bad in this age. Nobody is a devata, nobody is a demon, but they've got mixed qualities. So we have to see the good thing, like a hamsa or a paramahamsa, which only takes the milk and leaves away the water. We have to work on people's good qualities, appreciate them, encourage them, and then they'll hold our hands and we'll pull them out of their negative traits. So in this way, even with family members, we have to be very, very careful, not keep jumping on them and, making them feel like they're terrible. Sometimes due to over attachment, due to over anxiety, we tend to do that with our own family members. We may be very critical, harsh, especially with children. We may be very judgmental, and that's what they resent. The modern generation, they just they cannot tolerate any kind of criticism, and then they'll go away, far away. They'll never listen to anything we have to say, all the wonderful things of Krishna consciousness. And so that's why we have to open up our hearts, open up our minds, become more accepting, tolerant, humble, all the qualities that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted us, and still give love in spite of so much of difficulties, problematic relationships. Still, if we keep on trying to give love, it's good for us as well, because we develop more, we mature as a devotee, and this will attract people to really adopt Krishna consciousness, in a very complete way. They cannot resist it. They will not, whatever they maybe their other attachments. This is the real hunger of everyone, to be accepted, to be loved, and to be cared for. So that is why this is very fundamental. And then family life cannot be barrier, or rather it's actually supportive, because you have all around you people who are progressing in spiritual life, and this is the basis of your relationships and activities. Then how can this be a source of maya? It can become yoga maya. And that's how, so if we have to become very focused and not given to so many other influences which prevent us from going on the spiritual path. Hare Krishna.